right, let's bring in our very special guest. She's doing a fantastic job of empowering youth and cultural experiences. My sister, Coreen McCall, founder of Sankofa Bridge. Coreen, thank you so much for joining us here on The Culture. How are you this afternoon?
Great. How are you? How's everyone?
We're doing well. I appreciate your patience. Just had a very, very important conversation.
I
And
heard.
I wanted to, bring you and have you talk about the work that you're doing with Sankofa Bridge. This is and I wanted to direct folks, check out the website at sankofabridge.org. That's the website, sankofabridge.org. Coreen, I'm going to give you the space and the place for you to talk about the great work that you're doing. What is Sankofa Bridge?
So at Sankofa Bridge, we're a nonprofit organization. And what we do is we provide cultural experiences to youth, between the ages of 15 to 17. And we specifically focus on youth at this time in New York City and in Westchester County. Eventually, the program will expand. Our flagship program that we have is a travel program. So we call it the Sankofa Travel Program. And what we'll do is we'll take children on trips nationally, and we'll do one international trip per year. So we're fairly new. We're a fairly new organization. So we're starting kind of in the middle of the program year this year, but we plan on taking children to the theater, to a Broadway show and to dinner, to the Schomburg Museum, different cultural experiences, even to music concerts, to Carnegie Hall, to see the Alvin Ailey dancers, to Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico, to New Orleans. There's a huge, rich culture in New Orleans, and I think children need to be exposed to the different cultures that are available. And then we're doing one international trip this year, and the trip that we're doing is to Ghana in West Africa. And these experiences for the youth are 100% cost-free, at no cost to the child or the parent.
And Coreen, I want to, first and foremost, this sounds fantastic, but you named this, yes, and she definitely deserves a round of applause for that work. But the name Sankofa Bridge, for some of us who may not be familiar with that terminology, what does that mean?
Okay, so Sankofa is an Akan word from Ghana, specifically from the Akan language, the Akan people from Ghana. And so Sankofa means to go back and get it. And there are two symbols for Sankofa. One is a fictional bird, and that bird is facing forward, but its head is turned and it's looking backward. And the reason why it's looking behind itself is because it's remembering where it came from. It's remembering the experiences that it had, and it's using that knowledge to move forward in life. And there's a nugget that sits inside the mouth of that bird. And that nugget represents the knowledge that it's gained. And then it's going to take that knowledge to move forward. And that's why I named the organization Sankofa. The bridge is who we are. We are bridging the cultural connections from the present to the past. We're just bridging connections.
Now, and Trinette, please jump in as we're talking to our sister here. But Coreen, I'm wondering, get the words out. I'm wondering, is this something just for Black youth, or is this something for all youth?
It's open to all youth. However, yes, we do have a focus on Black youth. So many of us, I have learned, even as adults, don't even own a passport, have never traveled outside of sometimes the state. And sometimes if they have traveled, it's to say, oh, I went down south to see family. So, but they don't have passports. And so I want to provide children with these cultural experiences and these opportunities that I was afforded as a youth. And I know that with this experience, it can just open up a plethora of opportunities for them. Because if you can see it, you can be it. And so I need children to see what is out there. I need them to see dancers. I need them to see Broadway actors, live performers. I need them to travel the world and experience these different cultures so that they can then take those experiences, internalize them, and use them as they move forward in life.
Absolutely. Trinette, what's your question for Coreen?
I love that. As a former educator, this is what we need. My question would be for you, what age group, what age range, and why did you choose that age range?
That's actually a great question. So the age range at this time is 15 to 17 years old. The reason why we chose that age range is because of the international travel component. So I didn't want to take a child too young overseas. I want them to be somewhat independent. And I want their parent to actually have some trust. So I know that, a 15 to 17 years old, they're nearing adulthood. And I think they're more independent and they'll be able to handle themselves a little better as we travel overseas. I think as the program progresses, we'll probably expand our program and we'll start to venture out to different states and take children from other states, and also expand the age group that we currently have in place.
And I'm wondering, is this where's this coming from in terms of providing these type of cultural experiences? Have you found that Black youth in particular are becoming very limited in their worldview, or what was the for you to say, what, we need to expose them to some things? What was the catalyst for that?
Actually, it started with my own mother. So my mother, when I was a child, she took me as many places as she could. She took me to Broadway shows and dinners and plays, and she took me to the Schomburg Museum and Carnegie Hall. She took me everywhere, and she was always saying to me, I need you to expand your cultural horizons. I need you to be exposed to different cultural experiences. It will change. It's life-changing. And so that's something I kind of took for granted because it was given to me so freely. And as I got older, I started to realize, honestly, in the dating pool and just having friends and just meeting people in general, that a lot of people that I've come across have not had that experience and they have not traveled. And I think traveling to me expanded my cultural horizons. And also children sometimes, especially our youth, when I say our, I mean Black youth, tend to have this proverbial glass ceiling over their heads. So they don't see what they can actually become. And so they start to feel ownership of their block, ownership of, their block, their city. And they say, this is my block. And they get this sense of ownership and don't even own any property on it. And so I need them to see that the world is yours, not just your block, not just your city, not the state, not the country. The world is yours and sky's the limit. You can achieve and become anything that you want to be.
Absolutely. That is, as Terrence Bolden checked in on as part of our crew, he said, that's real talk, sister.
Thank you.
That is very much real talk. All right, look, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, we'll continue the conversation with Coreen McCall. We'll continue the conversation with Coach Trinette L. Collier and, of course, crew with you. Stay with us. It's The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad, joined by my sister and the inspirationalist herself, Coach Trinette L. Collier, as well as our very special guest today, Coreen McCall, who serves as the founder of Sankofa Bridge. Now, Coreen was just talking to us about the great work she's doing with exposing young people, 15 to 17-year-olds, to international travel and expanding their horizon. And I think a lot of our people understand, especially now, that travel is such an important part of the cultural experience. I've had a chance to travel overseas and in some other places, just even around the country, because I don't, Coreen, I don't want us to kind of like diminish the fact that, I'm here in the West Coast in Los Angeles, but you can go into Chicago. It's a different cultural experience. You can go to Miami. My sister Trinette is down in Atlanta, ATL. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different cultural experience that's even within the boundaries. What do you say to those black students who may not exposed to those type of cultural experience, and to understand that even in the very country that you're born in, that this is still a land of great diversity, a lot of different cultures, a lot of cultural experiences? How do you help them to see that they're in a space that they probably will never, that they have a chance to explore?
Well, I think that speaks to the national component of our travel program. And so that's kind of what I want to do. So I'm going to start locally with the theater shows. I mean, all of that is happening locally, but then I'm also going to take them out to Washington, D.C. so that they can go to the museum there, to the National Museum there. I'm also going to take them, like I said, to Louisa, Puerto Rico, which is considered a part of the United States. So one thing that I learned is that Louisa, Puerto Rico has the largest Afro-Latino culture. A lot of Africans migrated, or not, I shouldn't say migrated, were taken to Puerto Rico. and they have this, they still maintain their Afro culture there. And so that's one of the reasons why I specifically said Louisa, Puerto Rico. That's why I mentioned New Orleans earlier. Their culture is, their cultural there is just so expansive. I mean, I went to New Orleans and I was blown away. I mean, just right here, like you said, right here in the United States, there are just so many opportunities for different cultural experiences that, to be honest, I really don't even need to leave the continent. I don't even need to leave the United States of America. But the reason why I'm doing it is because I want to make sure that these children get a passport, and I want to make sure that they get on a plane and they fly somewhere and they see something that is completely different than what they're used to and what they've experienced, even here in the United States. It's a completely different experience when you're taken to a place where they're speaking a different language, where their culture is a culture that we came from and was taken, stolen from us. And so I want to take them back there. It's not just Ghana. Ghana is just this year. There's also Egypt. You know, I'll be taking them to Egypt. I'll be taking them to different countries around the world, including Spain. Spain is another one. However, to your point, to your question, within the United States, we have such a wide variety of different cultures. That is one of the reasons why I want to make sure that I take them to different states so that they can see some of what maybe they don't learn in school. Because school gives us a very limited perspective of our own culture. And so we need to understand those differences and what they are, but then also the similarities. And so that's what the plan is. That's what my goal is.
And what has been some of your biggest challenges?
Oh, fundraising.
Oh, it's the money. It's the money.
Fundraising. It's a challenge. It definitely is a challenge, but it's going to happen regardless, because this is something that is a calling. It's something that I'm called to do. So no matter what the challenge is, we'll get through it. But definitely money has been a huge challenge. Other than that, everything is great.
Everything's great.
And
talk to us a little bit about the feedback that you've gotten from these 15 to 17-year-olds. Do you see, you know, I've heard some people use this term, do you see the glimmer in their eyes once they, come back home, or once they touch, set their foot on international soil? What kind of feedback have you gotten?
Well, first of all, the children, they love it. They definitely, this is something that they want to do. Their parents ask me all the time, can you take adults? Can I come with you? You know, can I join the program?
No, you can't unless you give me some money.
Yeah, the feedback has just been overwhelming. It's just been incredible. Everyone has been so supportive. And I think people see the vision, and it doesn't take much for me to sell it to them. They already are aware. People know, they know the benefit in traveling. They understand it. And this is something that they really want for themselves, but they also want for their children. And it's an opportunity. And I think the fact that there's no price tag attached to it, it's like, wait a minute. Some people actually think, are you for real? Is this a joke? And some people are not that forthcoming. Some people are a little skeptical, but there should be no skepticism involved. We are a nonprofit organization. We are registered. So this is just an experience that I want to give, and I want to give it back to others. I want to pay my experiences forward. So that's
Coach
it.
Finette, let's Coach, as we wrap up the conversation in the show. I don't even know if Coreen if she's an angel or.
Yeah, listen, I had to put myself on mute because I'm back here just like, yes, somebody gets it. I applaud you. I do want to ask, is this will this be a cohort? Like, will you take certain amount of students and each year their experiences, or it's a first come, first serve type of thing? How does that work?
There's a certain amount of students that we will take. However, it is first come, first serve. As long as, there's certain criteria that the students have to meet. So your age group is just one criteria, right? But there's also other criteria, such as you need to have a recommendation letter from someone. So that's another criteria. And it could be a teacher. It could be a person in your community, like a leader in your community. It could be a pastor. But it could be a government official from your community. But somebody should recommend you and say, and another big one is that you have to come from a low income household. So I want to give this opportunity to children whose parents cannot afford to give it to them. And so your household has to be 55,000 or below. Of course, there may be some exceptions. Like, say, for example, if one family has like 6 kids, then there might be an exception there, but it has to be a low income household or an at-risk youth, something like that. And so there's a few things that we look for, but basically it's first come, first serve. As long as you put in the application and you meet the criteria, you're welcome to come with us.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. We got a few moments left, Coreen. I want to give you a chance to once again put out all the details and any type of social media info, anything that you can get give to get people involved in supporting you, because that's the big thing. Definitely supporting the work you're doing.
Yes. So our website is sankofabridge.org. And we are, like I mentioned, we are a nonprofit organization, 501c3, and all donations are tax exempt. If you would like to make a donation, please do so at sankofabridge.org/donate. We will be happy for any donation of any size. It doesn't matter how small or how big it is. We are grateful and thankful for all donations. And so if you have any additional questions, feel free to contact me. We have a contact form right on the website. And I'm here and I'm available for all calls and all questions. I thank you all.
Oh, Coreen, thank you so much for the great work. I mean, this sounds like a phenomenal program. You got Trinette's approval right there. So
I signed up already.
There you go.
I signed up for email.
You're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it real big. Coreen, thank you so much for the work. And more importantly, thank you for exposing young people to these phenomenal experiences. And of course, we thank you for being so good for the culture. Thank you, Coreen, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, oh man. All right.